This is CBC Here and Now.
Some of these communities may indeed not survive.
The province reacts to the population report.
Not to blame. A preliminary study says Mud Lake flooding was not caused by Muskrat Falls.
We were all really excited at that discovery.
A Newfoundland and Labrador technology company helps find an Avro Arrow model in Lake Ontario.
It's weekend time, and as far as weekends go, not half bad for this time of year, the exception being the Avalon. Periods of rain on the menu. We'll break it down coming up.
A St. John's man is charged with murder after a fatal stabbing near Monday Pond yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, police were still investigating the crime as the man accused of murder made his first court appearance in provincial court today. Here now's Mark Quinn has our story.
Police say this is the man who fatally stabbed another man in St. John's yesterday. They say 31-year-old Craig Pope was arrested yesterday afternoon on Elizabeth Avenue without incident. The RNC say the stabbing happened in this area after a fight broke out here on Alderberry Lane.
When our officers arrived on scene, they located an unconscious male who had sustained serious injuries and was conveyed to hospital by Eastern Health paramedics. The victim of the stabbing, 36-year-old David Collins of St. John's, died later in the day of his injuries.
Police say it wasn't a random act of violence because the accused and the victim knew each other. Late this afternoon, RNC officers were still in the area investigating with the help of the Rovers Search and Rescue Team. They were taking a hard look at sewers in the area close to where Collins was fatally injured with a knife.
There is a ground search that is underway, and that's really to look for some evidence in relation to the crime. So I can't get into specifics as to what they have already found or what they are looking for, as you can understand, but it is in connection with this.
And this isn't Pope's first time in court. He has been convicted for uttering threats and fraud before. Pope was released from Her Majesty's Penitentiary in St. John's just 2 weeks ago, and now he'll be held in custody until his next court appearance later this month. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Muskrat Falls didn't cause the flooding at Mud Lake this spring. That's the initial finding from the consultant hired by the province to determine the cause. At meetings in Happy Valley Goose Bay and Mud Lake last night, residents heard that the main factors appear to be heavy rain in November and a quick spring runoff. But residents are adamant those findings are wrong. They question the overall analysis and say things like ice thickness weren't factored into the study. The consultant says more data could be collected to help address those concerns, and he will suggest that to Nalcor.
That will be required to do any more extensive modeling work or forecasting work and flood management work. Yeah, so there will be a recommendation to extend that.
The death of Allison Smith has left some people grieving and others calling for action. The 18-year-old university student died when her car veered off the highway near the Fox Trap access road. 2 years ago, Sheldon Quinton was killed in virtually the same place when his vehicle went off the road. Now, friends of Quinton have started an online petition asking government to extend the guardrail on that section of highway. The petition has more than 1,500 signatures so far. Late this afternoon, the Department of Transportation and Works issued a statement. It says that section of the highway will be looked at to figure out the best option to make it safer as quickly as possible. Also today, Memorial University set up a drop-in center for students affected by Smith's death. In a letter to students, MUN President Gary Kachanowski offered condolences to students and Smith's family and friends.
Newfoundland and Labrador with 40,000 fewer people than we have today. That's the dire prediction coming from a report released yesterday. So what's the province think of all of this? Well, here now's Terry Roberts has our story.
A Newfoundland and Labrador with 40,000 fewer people than we have today. That's what a report released this week is suggesting will happen over the next 2 decades. And nearly all of this decline will occur in areas outside of the Northeast Avalon, in places like St. Anthony and Roddington. In other words, in small-town Newfoundland and Labrador. Here in St. John's, the population could swell by 15%, in keeping with a nationwide pattern of migration to urban centers. So what is our government doing in the face of what experts are calling an unprecedented population challenge? Well, the reality is not a good one for some.
There's a stark reality in some of these communities that if you look at them, there's an aging demographic, and you know, we're not talking about resettlement, but within a certain period of time, if we do not have younger people moving in, and we know that certainly some of these communities may indeed not survive, and that's the reality of it.
Hawkins says government is implementing a strategy to replenish the depleting labor force by encouraging more immigration, regionalization, bolstering industries such as agriculture and tourism, and adapting to changes in the fishery.
One of the unfortunate things within this province, Terry, as well, is the fact that for every 100 people now that we have going into the workforce, there's 125 coming out. And so, you know, just do the math on that, and we realize that we've got to certainly increase our initiatives and opportunities to make sure that we do have an adequate workforce. And you know, these are challenges that you know we've faced before, and it's certainly now I think is brought to the surface.
As for the future of many struggling communities, Hawkins says the government is not ready to give up on anyone. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
The report is back, and a marriage is recommended between Northern Arm and neighboring Botwood. Here's why the consultants suggested amalgamation. Fewer staff would be needed. Money would be saved on fire services and transportation. And a single fire department would mean older volunteers could leave. With a report like that, you'd presume a lot of local people would want their voices heard in the upcoming municipal election. But as Here and Now's Garrett Barry reports, that's not the case.
Here's the decision. Join with your neighbors or go it alone. A divisive issue, but it's not one leading a lot of people to municipal politics. You won't see these in Northern Arm this year. No need. There are 7 seats on council, but only 5 people vying for them.
For some reason, these individuals who were voicing a objection to amalgamation or a pro towards amalgamation, none of them offered themselves at all. And I'm surprised, and some of the people that I've talked to, as a matter of fact, are equally surprised.
One reason for the low turnout? It's an older town, and most former councillors are moving on.
Over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been getting progressively deafer, and it's difficult to hear what's going on at the council meetings. I didn't poll the other council members individually to see why they're not running, but I guess they simply had enough public life and want to retire.
There's only been one contested election in the last 4. There are some young people kicking around, but they're pretty busy.
They are working away from home, and they're on different turnarounds. So they're gone for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they're home for 3 weeks or 2, and so on, right? And that has an impact on what other things they can commit themselves to in the community.
And everyone else?
You find the same number of individuals, or the same group, trying to operate the different things within the community that's going on, you know, and the bulk of the community is not involved, and that's a common occurrence throughout the province.
Maybe the solution to this problem is the issue council soon will debate. Butler says amalgamation could lead to more competition for council seats. Garrett Barry, CBC News, Northern Arm.
Well, from a small town to the biggest city, City Council in St. John's has awarded a contract to demolish a historic property that was gutted by fire in April. Taxpayers will fork out nearly $250,000 to tear down what's left of the former Belvedere orphanage. This summer, a CBC News investigation revealed that the Belvedere property is tangled up in millions of dollars in debt and unpaid mortgages, and the numbered company that owns it is broke. Council will pay for the demolition bill, at least for now, but hopes to recover the money down the road. Demolition work is expected to be finished within a month.
There's an update tonight on a story CBC Investigates first brought you 3 years ago about a rental scam in Gander. The woman behind that scheme was convicted of fraud this morning. Next week, Darlene Wheeler finds out whether she'll go to jail. Here now's Rob Antle was at court and has the details.
Darlene Wheeler was in court in St. John's this morning, 3 years after she scammed cash out of a half-dozen potential tenants of this house in Gander, a house Wheeler was living in but didn't actually own. She took their money, nearly $3,800, but the tenants never got the chance to move in. Today in court, lawyers were discussing what her sentence should be. First, there was a twist. Wheeler disagreed with the statement of facts she had signed herself several months ago and fired her lawyer. The judge said the hearing would proceed anyway, so she took her lawyer back. Wheeler's lawyer stressed that she hasn't been in trouble since being charged 3 years ago, so she could be rehabilitated, even though she has a 15-page record for past related offenses. He believes 12 months of house arrest would be an appropriate sentence. But the Crown wants Wheeler to go to jail, 5 to 6 months for the rental fraud, plus a few months for another crime, passing bad checks back in 2010. Darlene Wheeler cried when she apologized to the judge, saying she was sorry and ashamed. The judge will deliver her decision next week. Rob Antle, CBC News, St. John's.
One of the models for an advanced Canadian fighter jet, the Avro Arrow, has been found at the bottom of Lake Ontario, and a Newfoundland company helped find it. Find out more next.
Welcome back, everyone. And of course, it's the all-important Friday night forecast.
But a lot of people aren't just looking at the weather here.
Yeah.
A lot of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians with places down in Florida and Hurricane Irma. It's not, no matter how bad the weekend forecast is here, it's going to be a whole lot worse in Florida.
A lot of concern. Yeah.
Now, you know, seeing reports today, obviously, that the storm is weakening. Still a Category 4 storm. Still packing sustained winds of 250 kilometers per hour. Gusts just shy of 300 kilometers per hour. Again, rolled through Turks and Caicos, north of Cuba. But you can see how big this storm is, that it is still draping much of Cuba. And as we look at the National Hurricane Center outlook, again, Category 4 storm. It will likely make landfall as a Category 4 somewhere between Key West and Miami. And so, again, we have to remember, even though the center of the storm is making landfall between Key West and Miami, the actual storm is going to be wider than the state of Florida. So the entire peninsula is going to be affected with heavy rain, strong winds, and of course storm surge is going to be a big issue for not only the Miami area but also the Keys. The storm will weaken quite a bit once it moves over land, and this is, watch your timeline here, Sunday morning, Monday morning. So through that 24 hours, it will weaken, but it's still going to be a very, very strong storm. This is going to have catastrophic damage, no doubt, especially over southern Florida, and then it will bring torrential rains up the peninsula and into southeastern parts of the U.S. for early next week. Forecast model tracks, all of these are different forecast model ideas. Pretty good consensus now that landfall will be somewhere between Key West and Miami, so obviously a big, big story down in the southern U.S. this weekend. Closer to home, lots of folks grumbling about the heat and humidity here. 24 degrees was the high in St. John's. We actually had overnight lows of 20 to 21 degrees from Grand Falls, Windsor to St. John's overnight. 20 degrees in September for a daytime high is pretty good achievement, let alone for an overnight low. So it has definitely been warm. You can see 9 degrees in Nain, back towards Labrador City. High today around 13 degrees. The other big factor, of course, has been the humidity. Any dew point that you see north of 18 is starting to get sticky and uncomfortable. We've had dew points today in St. John's in that 20 to 21 range, so it definitely has been tropical feeling. But you notice the dew points really dropping off for the western half of the island, and humidity will drop tonight for St. John's. So some more comfortable sleeping weather for the weekend. Unfortunately, we have rain coming in. It's all thanks to that frontal boundary, which stretches all the way down to the U.S. There are 3 hurricanes, none of those impacting our weather, but certainly this line tapping in right from the Gulf of Mexico. Nice big feed of moisture that's going to come in through the weekend. Now, timing out when these periods of rain are going to move right overhead, a little bit of an issue given how long and drawn out this line is, but it does appear that Saturday morning we should see a bit of a break. Heaviest rains just offshore from the Avalon. That line then looks set to wander back in through the afternoon. Better chance of rain at times heavy, even a rumble of thunder tomorrow afternoon into the evening and overnight as that line comes through. I think Sunday morning starts a little on the wet side and then a bit of a break with some drizzle into the afternoon. By the time we get to Sunday morning, I think we are looking at generally in that 20 to 40 millimeter, 50 millimeter range, that is, across most of the Avalon. Amounts drop off. The Burin, Clarenville, Bonavista, Vista, most of this rain looks set for Saturday, late day into through Sunday morning. And then again, I think we're looking at more so drizzle on Sunday. 15 degrees for an overnight low in St. John's, so not quite as warm as last night. We'll start in the mid-single digits. Grand Falls, Windsor near 6. 5 to 6 degrees, and as cool as 2 in low-lying areas of western Labrador. So we'll put periods of rain on the menu for tomorrow morning. Southwest winds. Watch the wind shift tomorrow. Winds will become northeasterly. Fog patches along parts of the coast. Risk of some thunderstorms in there through tomorrow evening. Winds really come in from the northeast, and so watch for that fog to really move in later tomorrow into the overnight along that Atlantic coastline, the southern shore, St. John's up through Bonavista. Brightening up, certainly risk of a shower into the afternoon. Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor, the Terra Nova region, Clarenville, Twillingate as winds become northeasterly, but certainly a better, brighter day for the western half of the island, 18 to 20 degrees. 12 in St. Anthony, and a very nice day across Labrador for September, looking at 14 degrees in Lab City and 14 to 15 degrees in the southeast, 17 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Sunday, Monday, and beyond. That's coming up. Peter?
Well, now to a story with a Newfoundland and Labrador connection. It's an exciting day for Avro Arrow buffs across the country. Search crews have released underwater photos of a prototype plane that they found in Lake Ontario using Newfoundland and Labrador technology.
It wasn't just about finding something lost. For generations, the Arrow story has fascinated many of us and has become something dear to many Canadians.
The mission to find 9 models of the Avro Arrow near Point Petrie, Ontario, began in late July. A special submarine is being used to scour the waters using sonar technology that was developed by Kraken Sonar here in Newfoundland and Labrador. The 9 missing models are considered the holy grail of Avro artifacts. All models, including completed jets, were ordered destroyed when Ottawa abruptly canceled the jet project in 1959. David Shea is in charge of engineering for Kraken Sonar, which is based here in St. John's, but he's in Toronto, and that's where he joins us now. So, first of all, what was your reaction when you saw that first sonar image of one of those Avro Arrow models?
I was unbelievably excited. I mean, it was a fantastic discovery. Myself and our survey tech were reviewing the images, and we called over everyone else, the rest of our team, to come and have a look. I mean, it was just very clear. If you've seen the sonar image, it looks exactly like a delta wing shaped model. So we were all really excited at that discovery.
It's taken a while, though, in order to get to this point. Were you at all frustrated or worried at some point that maybe they weren't down there and that all this time, effort, and money might be for naught?
I would say we weren't worried because we had very high confidence from the historians and from all the information that we had collected that they were down there. It's certainly frustrating looking at a lot of rocks on the seabed. It's a challenging area to operate in. The weather has caused us some delays. It's also the limestone seabed creates a lot of plane-shaped rocks, as we came to describe them. So we've been able to declassify a lot of targets in that way, but we all, it's part of the job, and everyone, as we've been finding booster rockets and other indications that we're working on the right trajectory, that's really kept the morale very high, and everybody's been really happy to actually see this all come to fruition.
And what is it like working on a much more high-profile project like this compared to a lot of the other projects that you're working on that may be for companies or oil and gas sector that don't certainly have this profile?
Most of the work we do is defense related. We do a lot of mine countermeasures and mine hunting work internationally for various navies. So that work definitely doesn't have the level of press or the level of coverage that this does. I mean, it's been amazing. There's of course the nation's spotlight is on us as we're part of this expedition. Everyone, it's in living memory. They're actually, one of the photographers from the Avro program came out and visited us on the site during our search. So it's been really exciting to be able to actually meet people and work on something that's so relatively recent as well. It's been, of course, there's a lot of pressure for us to find it, but I strongly believe we had the right team, we had the right technology, and thankfully we were looking in the right place.
And so how important has this expedition been for this piece of Kraken technology that was, has been developed here in Newfoundland and Labrador to show this on a much broader scale?
I think it's been a great opportunity for us to really showcase, what we're doing in Newfoundland and what we're doing in Canada overall, to show that, that Canadians are developing cutting-edge technology, cutting-edge underwater technology in Newfoundland, and we're using that to help discover and resurrect what was previously cutting-edge aerospace technology in the Avro Arrow. So it's been a fantastic example of application of our sonar technology and our underwater vehicle technology in a very public demonstration.
And so what's next for you guys?
Well, we have a few more weeks of survey work to do out here before the weather window starts to turn on us. So we're going to continue searching along that trajectory, and hopefully there's 8 more models out of the 9 that were launched out there, so we're hoping to find another 8.
Well, good luck, and thanks for giving us this update.
Great, thanks very much, Peter.
Up next, a closer look at the anticipated decline for the province's population. We'll hear from someone who isn't ready to write off rural areas just yet. Back now to one of our top stories, the provincial population decline. A study released yesterday predicts 40,000 fewer people will be here in 20 years. That decline will come at the expense of smaller communities. But as Here and Now's Chris O'Neill-Yates tells us, not everyone is ready to write off rural areas just yet.
So let's just put your lunch bag in here.
The morning hurly-burly as Jill Curran scrambles to get her two sons off to school. She's made her home here in Fairyland amidst breathtaking beauty, drenched in a rich history where even Lord Baltimore has left his mark.
When I look out my door, I mean, it's just, it's unreal, like how beautiful. And some days I take it for granted how beautiful it is where we live.
As many have, Curran left here after high school. But the tug of rural life drew her back, where she started a now thriving picnic catering business.
A lot of people said, no one's going to walk 2 kilometres out to an abandoned lighthouse and sit on the ground and eat a picnic lunch, and yet 15 years on, people do.
The tourists do love it, but beautiful scenery and history alone isn't enough to anchor people in these towns, where the old are passing away and the young are leaving. Since Curran returned, Fairyland's population has dropped from about 600 to roughly 400 today. The rural exodus leads to new subdivisions like this one on the Northern Avalon, country living near the amenities of the city. As the rural population shrinks, areas like this will swell by about 15% by 2036. But Curran sees a way forward for rural life.
I think you're going to see more and more, people realising that they have to work together in rural communities to be able to survive in terms of the basic services that they want and need. And I think you're seeing that in a lot of communities already. They realise it.
Curran would like to think her sons will have the option to stay here.
I'm not going to be naive in terms of saying that they will. I mean, my children have class sizes of 11 and 14. I went to the same school and had class sizes of 50 and 60s. It's sad, but I know it is the way of the world.
This report predicts an unprecedented population challenge for this province. This isn't exactly new. It's a continuation of a trend that began about 25 years ago with the collapse of the cod fishery. So if communities like this one are going to survive, it will likely be with far fewer people. Chris O'Neill-Yates, CBC News, Fairyland, Newfoundland.
Certainly lots of food for thought there. Interesting, though, how the tourism business is an area that's, a bit of a bright spot, that if you can convince people to come and visit rural areas, it creates jobs and, some opportunity, and otherwise.
And if you have a good product like Jill Curran has there, it can be done. It is one area that is growing, so we'll see. Now, I wanted to just let you know more of what we were hearing from Chris and Jill Curran. She moved back to her hometown to start her business, which is called Lighthouse Picnics. That was 15 years ago, and despite Fairyland's dwindling population, Curran hopes her young sons will choose to stay, as we heard from Chris's report. Here's more of their conversation.
I choose this lifestyle because it is a small population base, but I think that with that there is opportunities. I mean, for me in my business, where I'm based is the sole crux of why my business exists, because I think there is a real sense in the world that people want to go to special places and rural communities and remote communities, and I think that as people create a buzz about going to smaller places, it creates opportunities for people to see business opportunities and hopefully to consider moving to smaller communities and raise their families here.
How do you think over time there'll be enough people paying taxes so that you'll have basic services, that you'll have a doctor, you'll have roadworks done, you'll actually have running water and a system that works? How do you think over time, with the declining population, that you'll be able to continue that?
I mean, it is going to be a challenge, there's no doubt about it. I think what you're going to see is more regionalized services. So I, realize that living in these small communities, there's certain services that I won't have access to in a larger centre. But I think in cooperation. So for example, regional fire departments, when they become regional, I mean, as multiple communities work together to provide a volunteer base for fire services, there's moves afoot for regional councils, you know, regional health services. I think there's going to be, you know, and you and I chatted about it. I mean, our schools, when I grew up, there was 3 or 4 that fed into primary and elementary, but now there's 11 communities that will feed into the primary school. So I think you're going to see more and more, you know, people realizing that they have to work together in rural communities to be able to survive in terms of the basic services that they want and need. And I think you're seeing that in a lot of communities already. They realize it. I mean, Fairyland's been here since 1621, so it was here long before we had the services that we've grown accustomed to, and I think, you know, it'll be here long after. And it's just, I guess it's a kind of it's a trade-off on what you choose to, or where you choose to live in terms of what you hold dear and what you want.
A St. John's swimming club is celebrating a big birthday by making big plans for the future. We'll tell you about it next. Welcome back to Here Now. Still going and growing at 40. The St. John's Legends Swim Club turns the big 4-0 this year, and to celebrate, well, they're looking to expand.
Yeah, thanks to the new pool at the Paul Reynolds Centre, the club wants to add up to 50 new swimmers. Here Now's Jeremy Eaton stopped by the Aqua Arena at St. John's to learn a little more.
This is a big season for the club on 2 levels. Firstly, on a ceremonial level, it's our 40th anniversary season. We're really excited about that. We're going to do a few things with some of our alumni and celebrate the history of swimming in St. John's. And then secondly, it's a big year with the construction and the development of the new Paul Reynolds Community Center. We're able to expand some of our programs and expand our offerings deeper into the community. We grew to 200 swimmers last year. That was a growth of about 20%. And then this year we have the capacity to grow to about 250 athletes. We've added a couple programs that we can reach out to some younger swimmers. We have a program that we call our swim school that we're going to run exclusively out of Paul Reynolds, which will help feed into our pre-competitive Little Legends program. And we're hoping for most of our growth to be on that novice level.
You are going all out bananas fast.
We're looking at St. John's hopefully hosting the 2025 Canada Games, and the swimmers that are going to be eligible for those Canada Games are boys born in 2009 and later, girls born in 2010 and later. Those kids at 6, 7, 8 years old right now, that's when they're starting their swimming journey. We're trying to identify those kids now by offering as many programs as we can to cast a wide net and hopefully find the next Canada Games swimmers to represent our province.
Well,
Wow.
a couple of kids from Mount Pearl, I shouldn't have just gone ahead. That was fabulous looking at them swim like that, and they will have more opportunities now to bring in more kids, competitive swimmers.
Absolutely. Well, and we're talking about trying to get this province to be more fit, and certainly some pretty fit-looking kids in the pool there.
We're still going to talk about some young ones. A couple of kids from Mount Pearl are happy to be back at school. That's because Logan and Rachel Spurl are masters of their own lunch boxes.
Yeah, here are the 9-year-old twins telling the morning show's Chrissy Holmes about their love for gourmet eating.
How did you get into cooking at such a young age?
Well, we were very, very young when we started cooking, except we couldn't help much then, except then when we were 6 or 7, we started going to cooking classes. And once we got a little bit older, we started getting to help out at home more as well.
So what kinds of things do you like to cook?
Well, today we cooked pizza quesadillas, chow mein noodle cookies, and amazing coleslaw, and it's really amazing.
Okay, amazing coleslaw. Can you tell me what makes it so amazing? I'm looking at it. It looks very healthy. It's really colorful. What's different about your coleslaw?
Well, those apples and raisins, and the dressing has like lemons and stuff, so it's a really fruity salad and
Yummy.
stuff. So it's really good.
And these cookies I'm seeing, so you say the chow mein cookies? Can
you could never tell the chow mein. They kind of taste like pretzels.
Wow.
You use a bag of chocolate chips, a bag of butterscotch chips, and chow mein noodles, and that's pretty much what they are.
Wow.
I want them to make my lunch.
Yeah, if only we'd brought them in here, they could be, you know, whipping us up a gourmet meal here and wouldn't have to cook for
Anything beyond the Easy Bake Oven at that age is very impressive. So, yeah, that's great. Okay, so as I've been mentioning over the last couple of days, and I'm sure you folks, I mean, there's been no complaints for everybody at home. There's been no complaints here.
No, I love the warm weather.
About the heat.
But I have heard a couple of rumbles and grumbles.
A lot of people don't like the humidity.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have air conditioning, most of us here in this province, for obvious reasons. Just
I don't know what you mean.
We got a window. That's natural air conditioning.
Exactly. 95% of the year, Mother Nature provides it for us. And so here's a good reminder for those tonight who are still thinking, oh, the humidity. Winter is coming.
Oh, great.
This was the scene this morning in Pond Inlet, Baffin Island. Now, Baffin Island, that's a journey north, but just a good reminder that winter is coming. Now, how amazing is it that right now across North America we're waking up to this on Baffin Island, and off to the south we are looking at 3 hurricanes, and not just little hurricanes. Jose is now a Category 4 hurricane. Irma is also a Category 4 hurricane. Now, Katia is just a Category 2. It will roll into Mexico. Irma, obviously, lots of attention on that storm. Going to be a major, possibly catastrophic hurricane for southern Florida. The good news with Jose is, even though it's a Category 4 storm, it is expected to hook up towards Bermuda and then hard turn to the right, and a storm for the fish, as we call it. Out to sea, no impact on land. At least that's how it looks right now, and we will keep our fingers crossed that it stays that way. Here in our neck of the woods, again, no big tropical storms, but certainly tropical moisture at play. The heat and humidity today, and this feed of tropical moisture right out of the Gulf of Mexico is coming up and into our neck of the woods, and that frontal boundary is basically going to stall overhead for the weekend across the Avalon. As I mentioned earlier, it's kind of tough to nail down when exactly those heaviest periods of rain are going to come through, but forecast models have actually been fairly consistent on the idea that Saturday morning, if we see some periods of rain, that at least should be a little on the lighter side, and that the best chance of rain at times heavy, risk of thunderstorms, more so for Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and certainly overnight Saturday and in through Sunday morning. So if you do have some plans, grab the umbrella, grab the raincoat, but tomorrow morning should be at least not a complete washout. Now for west of the Avalon, I think we will see a couple of showers into the afternoon for the Burin Peninsula, Clarenville, Bonavista, Vista, Gander, northeast coast. Winds become northeasterly, so a chance of some late day drizzle blowing in there. 20 degrees in Corner Brook. We're going to get to 14, 17 degrees across most parts of Labrador. Now watch that frontal boundary. Also pretty good consistency here that should, with Sunday morning, some showers taper off to just some drizzle into the afternoon. While the front moves offshore, the winds become northeast, so watch for the fog monster, the drizzle across the Avalon, the northeast coast. That will all be in the mix for Sunday, so while the rain, I think, won't be quite as heavy on Sunday, won't be splitting the rocks either. Again, RDF type of day with 14 degrees with onshore northeasterly winds. A little bit warmer, chance of a shower from Gander to Corner Brook and definitely down around the south coast, but overall not half bad. 16 degrees for you folks in Labrador, from Happy Valley Goose Bay to Labrador City. Now watch this. This is our next system, which is going to shoot in from the south through Monday. This is going to be our big rainmaker for early next week. We'll really move in. Temperatures 13, 14 degrees, really move in through the day on Monday. I think the northwest half of the island and Labrador are looking okay on Monday. So as I mentioned earlier, 20 to 50 millimeters by Sunday morning, and then as we roll through Monday and into Tuesday, that's when we're getting into those heavier rains. And so by the end of Tuesday, we're talking about the potential for 50 to 100 millimeters of rain. But again, half that coming Monday into Tuesday, so just keep that in mind. There's your outlook. Yeah, a couple grumbles from the desk now, and you can see though, insert Rick Mercer 7th day of the forecast joke here. Friday does look good, 16 degrees, and you can see Labrador, not a bad stretch over the next 4 days.
Why don't we meet our young athlete of the day? Here is Ashton Parsons of Grand Falls, Windsor.
Ashton is 8 years old and plays goalie for the under-8 division of Exploit Soccer.
Great work, Ashton. You're today's young athlete of the day.
So privileged that we were able to receive this blessing, and I'm so happy and I'm feeling great this time. Although I'm a bit nervous, but I'm really happy.
About 4,000 couples from 64 countries took part in a mass wedding in South Korea yesterday. And that blushing bride was just one of those thousands to exchange vows at the ceremony.
South Korea's Unification Church says a further 20,000 couples participated over the internet. The wedding boasted an impressive guest list with another 30,000 people in attendance. I don't want to know what the bar tab was at the end of that night.
Wow, that is something.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Millions of people are getting out of Florida with Hurricane Irma expected to slam into the state tomorrow. Highways and airports are jammed as people make their way out of the storm's path. And those who aren't leaving are doing what they can to prepare. Susan Ormiston has the latest.
The last chance to try and dull the devastating impacts of Irma. Albert Castro is attempting to save a fitness studio here in Miami Beach.
But here's the problem that I told the owner. We're great here, but look there. And look on the other side.
The shops next door, glass, barely fortified, and another threat, Florida's palms.
When those coconuts hit those windows, it's going to blow the whole thing out. And then you have the storm surge.
Most residents have left Miami Beach under a mandatory evacuation order, but a few remain despite the governor's urgent warnings.
Anywhere in the state, if you're told to evacuate, leave, get out quickly.
Some who wanted to go can't, like Max.
I tried many things, nothing worked. Hotels, everything is booked. So I called the city, they said there's mandatory evacuation, but they're not enforcing it. So it's up to that individual.
Fuel is scarce. As of tonight, gas will not be resupplied in South Florida. Stores are closing today. Residents urged to have at least 3 days of provisions on hand.
It's hard to imagine now, but within 24 hours, this will be near the heart of Hurricane Irma. And people here in Miami are worried about three things: rain up to 20 inches, winds in excess of 100 miles an hour, but mostly about the surge. All this water along the coast surging onto shore up to 10 feet. Is projected. Look at all these condos along the waterfront, and here's another hazard: construction cranes. Still working against time on a 64-story building, now hoisting steel beams to try to fortify it. The mass exodus from Florida is historic. Officials urging defiant residents to save lives over properties. It's certain now Irma will pound South Florida. Its breadth wider than the Panhandle. Its power, nothing like Florida has seen. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Miami.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. And I speak on behalf of the world. We're so proud of you. He's excited.
It was the trip of a lifetime for a Michigan boy who saved his brother from drowning after watching Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson give CPR in a movie. 10-year-old Jacob O'Connor was flown to Vancouver for a well-deserved hero's welcome.
When Jacob discovered his 2-year-old brother floating face down in the family swimming pool, he knew exactly what to do, copying a life-saving move from his favorite movie, San Andreas, making all those repeat viewings of his favorite flick all the more worthwhile.
Isn't that great?
You can learn things from movies. There you go. Welcome back to Here and Now. When U.S. conservation officers conducted an illegal wildlife search at a house in New York State, they came across an unexpected surprise. Well, you'd be forgiven for thinking these are snapshots from SeaWorld. Nope, that's in somebody's basement.
Oh my goodness.
The conservation officers discovered these sharks inside a swimming pool. They were 7 live sandbar sharks, along with 2 dead leopard sharks and 1 dead hammerhead. Investigators say the homeowner was likely breeding them to sell to private collectors. The sharks were tagged and taken to the Long Island Aquarium. I wonder if he was putting laser beams on their head. You know, it's almost like a James Bond villain.
Well, I was just thinking the same thing that James Bond.
Have
I don't
a layer with,
I don't know which movie it was, but they had something like that. Oh my goodness.
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen in a basement. We'll stick to the rink, you know?
Well, let's have a look at something that's not quite like that. It's birthdays and anniversaries time. So let's see who's celebrating. Congratulations to Tom and Elsie Lasaga of Cornerbrook on their 59th wedding anniversary. Happy 92nd birthday to Emma Higdon of Cornerbrook, who celebrated this week. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Joyce and Winst Moland. Congratulations to Lloyd and Vera Bennett on their 52nd anniversary. Best wishes to Arch and Margaret Spencer of Marystown on their 64th anniversary.
Happy 53rd anniversary to James and Daisy Ford. Happy 100th birthday to Howard Marshall of Cornerbrook, who's going to be celebrating tomorrow. Congratulations to Joseph and Blanche Masters of Red Harbor on their 68th wedding anniversary. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Ralph and Eileen Anstey of Southbrook. Happy 90th birthday to Bertha Diamond from Change Islands, now living in Lewisport.
Another significant birthday to tell you about. Happy 106th birthday to Sister Helena Murphy of Presentation Convent in St. John's. Sister was born in Plate Cove East and is still in good health, we're told. Happy birthday to Margaret Johnston of Goulds, who turned 91 this week. Happy 50th anniversary to Harrison and Bernice King of Bloomfield. Another centenarian to send greetings to. Happy 103rd birthday to Violet Jenkins, whose big day is tomorrow. Violet is from Summerford and is now in Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 50th anniversary to Geraldine and Ian Murdoch of Mount Pearl, who will be celebrating tomorrow. Happy birthday to Chesley Howell of Paradise, who was 98 years old this week.
Happy 90th birthday to Irene Chalk of Stephenville. Happy birthday to Mary Follett of Cornerbrook, celebrating her 91st birthday on Monday. Happy 51st anniversary to Marjorie and Robert Hamlin of Happleton, celebrating on Sunday. Happy 94th birthday to Cecil Morgan of Cupids. It's a 90th birthday for Ina Bartlett of Dunville.
Happy birthday to Scottish war bride Margaret Penny, who is celebrating her 90th birthday coming up on Monday. She's formerly from English Harbor, Trinity Bay, now in Clark's Beach. Birthday greetings to Jessie Kellaway of Pools Island, now in Brookfield, who celebrated her 94th birthday this week. Happy birthday to John Legg of Mount Pearl, who celebrated his 90th this week. Happy 91st birthday coming up on Monday to Dorothy Pryor of Grand Bank, now in Paradise.
Happy 55th wedding anniversary to John and Gertrude Cody from Harbor Grace. Carl and Alma Offingleck from Flat Rock enjoyed their 55th anniversary this week. Betty Thorne is turning 90 this Sunday. Happy birthday. She's originally from Mount Pearl and now is in Kelligrews. It's a golden anniversary tomorrow for Tom and Geraldine Butler of St. Mary's Bay. Happy 51st anniversary to Mary and Gilbert Kinsella of St. Anthony.
Happy 50th anniversary, Genevieve and Bill Halfyard. Chris and Madeline Kavanagh of Flat Rock are celebrating 63 years of marriage. Golden wedding anniversary wishes to Adam and Eliza Firmage of Wareham, Bonavista Bay. Best wishes to Roy Sansom of St. John's, who will be 90 years old on Monday. Happy 93rd birthday to Edith Head in Grand Falls, Windsor.
Congratulations to Bert and Marina Short of St. John, celebrating their 58th wedding anniversary tomorrow. They're originally from Grand Falls, Windsor, but are longtime residents of St. John's. Happy 50th anniversary to Mick and Hilda Simmons of Conch. Bob and Shirley Squires will be celebrating their 64th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Happy 54th anniversary to Gerald and Rosanna Fudge of Ramia, who special day is on Sunday. Happy 59th wedding anniversary to Janet and Willis Rousel of Leading Tickles.
It's a golden anniversary for Vera and Clayton Fudge from Ramia. Happy 50th anniversary as well to Jim and Ruby Clements of Mount Pearl. Happy 51st wedding anniversary to Edward and Trifina Gale of Pollard's Point, White Bay. It's a 51st anniversary as well for Jack and Judy Vay of CBS. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Beverly and Clarence Martin of Bayvert, who are celebrating today. And best wishes to Margaret and Andrew Riggs, who celebrate their 51st wedding anniversary tomorrow.
Another fine-looking crew from all over the province. We had St. Anthony, we had Ramia, Peter, we even had Happleton. It's great to hear. You're becoming a true Newfoundlander, my friend. The one place that we didn't see was down along the Placentia Bay area, Monkstown. Now, I admit, I know most places. I take pride in knowing where most places are. I had to look this one up. Monkstown in Placentia Bay, and what a picture there, taken on the Labor Day weekend. Teresa, Frank,
beauty.
Thank you.
I've never heard of it either.
There you go. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks very much, as always, for sending in those pictures. This is Peter's last day on the desk for a while. Carolyn is back.
Happleton was it. I'm out.
Carolyn is back. We hope you'll be back here on Monday, too. See ya.
Have a great weekend.
Good weekend, everyone.